They were like, well, we don't use AI, we use AI teams. And this was before agents, swarms, anything like this was thought of. And that's, I think, when it all really clicked in my head of, you're not trying to get this AI to do everything. You're trying to get it to do one task and one task really well and then pass off to the next step.
Ashton Shanks built a 200-person marketing agency, left it, now running everything with 3 people, and says he's never worked harder or had more fun. He's here to explain why the best businesses keep losing and what he built to stop it.
Intuition and strategy that is really hard to replicate at a high level. Really, I've not been able to scale it.
My whole thing was we all have to speak the same language. So that way, when we're on a media buying call going, what do we do for client XYZ? Everyone could actually be productive. And so I built this program, kind of created this unified language and really formulated what I had done internally, like that gut thing. How do I put that on paper so someone could follow?
What does Ashton stand against?
I've had a whole career watching companies that should not be winning win just because they had bigger budget, better angles, or more content production. And I've watched the best companies that had great products and truly cared just could not keep up and they lost. The whole idea was how do we equal that playing field where any business can now have same access, same resource, same ability that any of these big companies can and create this world where truly the best businesses actually win.
Every superhero has a flaw. What's your flaw?
I think,
it's nice to be in your city.
dude, welcome to Nashville.
Yeah. Are you from here originally?
No, I've only been here maybe 3.5 years. 4
That's
years.
beautiful.
It's great.
My goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually lived here for a bit when I was working for Traffic and Funnels, and then I moved away. And then when my company was ready for offices, I was like, I got to go back to Nashville. It's my favorite spot.
Oh yeah. So you set up offices here?
Yeah.
A little bit nicer? That's
Yeah.
awesome. This is beautiful. Yeah. Food's great. Had Martin's earlier. That shit is so
spot.
good.
It's a good spot, man.
I'm a big Austin barbecue guy. Like I like style switch.
Yeah, I mean, that's the top tier.
It is really good. But I was like, that was pretty awesome. I had a chicken sandwich.
Where in Austin do you go? Blacks?
Like Terry Black's is great. I like Style Switch, which was
I have had that one, yeah.
yeah. So like the old cook from Franklin's went over there, so opened his own spot. They do a oh, it's just awesome.
Texas, man.
It's good.
That's where I'm originally from, Texas.
No way.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Dallas area.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice area. Cool, man. Well, I first reached out to you. I've been following your journey for a while, but you've kind of like went in there and kind of gutted some of our stuff and like really opened our eyes to a lot of things that we're operating on. Now you're on like, you've basically lived like 5 lives, right? And especially in the marketing world.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because you enjoy stress or you just like doing cool shit.
I think glutton for punishment.
Okay. It definitely seems like that. But I think a lot of people don't realize like you're a really good operator, even though you're building an incredible software and you're a good marketer. But from an ops standpoint, like you really know how to run something. Where did that come from for you?
Ironically, I think a lot of it came back before I did anything entrepreneurial, before I knew I even wanted to be in business. My goal was actually to be a pastor.
Oh, no way.
And so in high school, I was always studying leadership books, communication, organization, and operations there. And then kind of just has always been the thing I've gravitated towards. And when I got into business, I think that's still the side that I gravitated towards of like leadership, developing people. How does an organization run? And it's always been kind of my favorite thing.
That's awesome, man. Cool. So like for those that don't know who Ashton is, like how would you describe yourself?
Oh man. A guy who fell into marketing when he was 16 and was really lucky to have some incredible opportunities at a super young age to lead people, but also work with really cool brands. And I've always somehow found incredible leaders to learn from. And then started my first business in 2020. We grew really fast. We scaled, and we at one point had 200 employees.
No way.
And then left that company to start Marketer X. And now trying to build the future market.
I think it's really cool. Like when you first started, like even you like to throw a little bit of feed out there and like test the waters, of, like, what's going on there. Not like not share everybody, share with everybody everything that's going on. But like the first hit I got at Marketer X, just the concept of it. Like if you believe in that thesis, then that's where the world's going.
Yeah.
I did right away. I didn't understand how quickly AI was adapting to everything, but I understood from a software standpoint and from a team and tech bloat standpoint.
Yeah.
The world was changing. Like we had 107 employees last year. We're at 47 right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
More efficiency, better productivity, better quality of work. Staff's got a better environment. Nothing against like the people that kind of like came and went. But the bloat actually affected the production and it affected actually the people that were like the A players utilizing the new tools and technology to do their job. You know, I do feel like what you're trying to do with Marketer X is where it's not even where we're going, it's where we are. Just some people haven't caught up to it yet.
Yeah.
So like talk a little bit about how did you kind of come about Marketer X, because you were running multi-division, multi-discipline marketing company, moving that towards like a software base to where almost, I would say, a 3-person business could run an entire marketing campaign.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it all, even before the technology innovation side of it, I think it started with me really understanding that even the art that people perceive as marketing can be formulaic and can be broken down into a science and step-by-step and SOPs. Because when I started growing my agency, our biggest problem was not client acquisition, it was hiring, it was getting team. And in the beginning, I was so wrapped up into like my brand, our quality, like to me, that was everything. And so I started making all the mistakes of hiring the wrong people, thinking that if I just paid people a lot of money, that got me talent, which was not true, as you know. And so really started like, okay, if I'm going to maintain the brand that I want, I have to get people to think and do things like me, at least until we can get even more talented people in to improve beyond what I could do. And so I built this program called Human X, and I think that's how we got introduced. Because that originally started not as a program I offered, it was an internal training program.
I was gonna say, that's what helped train our staff.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was something I built of like, when I hire someone, they go through my program, they pass my exams, and then they can touch my client accounts. And then eventually it was like, oh, I think this could be valuable for other people as well.
Yeah, so you're speaking a universal language internally.
Exactly. My whole thing was we all have to speak the same language. So that way, when we're on a media buying call going, what do we do for a client XYZ? Everyone could actually be productive, because everyone was just throwing out ideas and be like, oh, I tried that last Tuesday or whatever. And so I built this program, kind of created this unified language, and really formulated what I had done internally, like that gut thing. How do I put that on paper so someone can follow?
It's intuition and strategy that is really hard to replicate at a high level. Really? And I've not been able to scale it.
Yeah.
So I mean, still something we struggle with.
Well, and to be fair, even I created in Human X, but I had actually started building that 2 years before I left Traffic and Funnels, because they had charged me with the same thing. How do you train what you're doing internally to other people? And so it had been 4 years before I'd actually built something like it. And so anyway, a few years later, AI starts to happen. And probably like most people, when AI came out, it was like I played with it for 3 weeks and was like, this is cool. I don't know what to do with it. It wasn't that great. Exactly. It was like, so I put it away. And then about 6 or 7 months later, it re-pinged in my head of rechecking this thing out. And I didn't know much about it. And so I had luckily had some friends in the hedge fund space, in the software space.
Yeah.
I was like, well, these guys I know have been dealing with AI forever. I mean, the quant technology, like it really started there. And so let me reach out and figure out what they're doing with it. And I had talked to them, this would have been probably 2022. And they're like, well, we don't use AI, we use AI teams. And this was before agents, swarms, anything like this was even thought of. And that's, I think, when it all really clicked in my head of, you're not trying to get this AI to do everything. You're trying to get it to do one task and one task really well, and then pass off to the next step. And I think for me, that's where I was instantly like, I've formulated marketing in a way that it could be translated to other people. Even just getting AI to do micro tasks really well and passed off, that instantly I was like, I know where this is going.
You built a system and a playbook that you could run without failure.
Yeah, it was like this idea of, well, I've trained humans. What if I could just train a computer?
The funny thing about computers and robots, they don't complain.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They yell back at me because I'm really bad with technology, but they don't bitch and moan.
Well, yeah. I mean, with humans, right? In human teams, you either have, it's a competency issue. They're just not intelligent enough to do it. Some people just can't do every job. That's fine. There's a skill issue. They just need to be trained better. Or there's a culture issue, right? And the first two are always correctable. The third one's never really correctable. With AI, it's never going to be that third one. It's either it's not a smart enough model, or you're not training it correctly or giving the right.
I think people talk about now, especially where AI is today. You would hear a lot of it, in just in the last few months, like, oh, it hallucinates. It's not that good. It's AI slop. It's like, you're not giving it any good IP.
Right.
You're not giving it a good workflow. You're not giving it a good content. You're not showing it what good looks like.
Yeah.
If you show what good looks like, just like anything, you can reverse engineer what quality is.
Yeah.
And most people, the sad part is in the marketing space is most marketing is shit.
Yeah.
Like most stuff that people actually build is really crappy.
Yeah.
So what happens is like, they don't know what to put it up against other than like, this was so easy.
Right.
No, but what the hard part is actually the IP that goes into it. So I think you've done a really good, like one thing that you have really learned is acquisition. Like you've owned that.
Yeah.
Where did because I think that's yes, it's a skill that you could learn, but some people have it and they don't.
Yeah.
You do have the skill of like acquisition. And in most business, they run into cash flow problems as they're trying to scale. You've been able to run acquisition to kind of fund the next venture to your businesses over the years. Where did you develop the skill of acquisition?
Oh man, I think that's just I think I probably always had a natural inclination towards strategy. In high school, I was the debate captain nerd. I was the guy who loved reverse engineering things, understanding how different components work together. And as a kid, I was always the one taking apart my dad's Palm Pilot, right? It's always just been I guess something I gravitated towards, of like, how do I look at something as its whole and how do I break it down apart? And so I think I've done that in two sides. A, I know where I want to go long term. And so I think I've done pretty good at distilling backwards. How does that work out? But B, the game of business in and of itself, I've always just fallen in love with. So the ideas of studying guys like Carl Icahn, who invented the hostile takeover, and figuring out how he did that, right? Figuring out how
it's an interesting marketing strategy,
right? Yeah. But even just the idea of like, how do I take lessons from this industry or this period or this person, and how can I apply them across? Because in my head,
that is loud.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Do we need a pause, or
no? We're good, man. We're good.
That's impressive.
Intercom over here.
Yeah.
I know this is Music City, but
yeah, apparently we get dial up.
That is cool though. Is like you walk into the airport and there's literally a guy playing on a guitar. I walk past another terminal. There's a guy on a keyboard singing. And I'm like, it's like this all the time.
And what I love to tell people is, right, it's like difference in Nashville is like, they're all good.
No, they're
the
really
person
good.
in an airport is like incredible. You're like, how are you not famous? You know, everyone everywhere is good. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's interesting to see like people come here. I like probably the three most musically inclined friends that I went to high school with, like that, like, oh, I'm putting my roots here. And I think one of them ended up going to LA, but they're like, I'm coming back to Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's funny to hear about it. When you're here, you notice it. You can almost feel it. It's a vibe.
It's everywhere. Yeah, it's cool.
Even though I got the restaurant there, it's just like live music every day.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's, you got to beg for that where we are.
Speaking of which, when you say acquisition, were you talking about like customer acquisition?
Yeah, you're fantastic at the ability to like, you need these many customers to grow your business. Well, this is the formula to do it.
Yeah.
And I remember like when I first talked to you, you know, just on like meta ads on like what you're doing, I'm an organic guy.
Yeah.
My strength is primarily organic strategy. And then I am fortunate enough to, if I'm doing paid media, it's in a bigger space. So it's in like a FU money, VC funded, like
Nike shoe deal guy.
It's like, yeah, go ahead, and you're gonna mess up a few things. So
you're a sleeper, dude.
It's
every time we meet, I'm like, geez, you're bigger than I even thought.
It's funny for me because like I'm used to dealing with like we gotta like hustle, Swiss Army knife, figure it all out, and then I gotta like there's this big gap, and you're dealing with this other budget, and you're just like, hey, listen, we have 4 accounts that are doing like 50, 60K a day. We're not really happy with where they are, and I'm like, that's $250,000 a day.
Yeah.
It's like bigger budgets operate differently.
Very different.
Whereas like we would panic on a Friday if something would go wrong because we didn't pay attention to it. On Monday, we lost a few grand.
Yeah.
That would freak us out.
Yeah.
So like they think about it differently. And it's like taking that same, being able to swing from one pendulum to the other, to be able to see it, but also not, I don't have that risk tolerance because I don't have that budget. I have the risk tolerance in regarding like, go out there and do your best, like try.
Yeah.
But you're playing with different budgets at the bigger level. What I was saying with you is I've always found you to be able to look at it and go, it's a numbers game. It's a formula. Like, all right, well, like this is how long, this is your run rate to get to here.
Right.
And have you baked that into Marketer X? And the reason why I asked that is because it's multi-channel.
Yeah.
Whereas when you run those formulas, the numbers don't add up the same for each channel. Like if I'm running YouTube right now, YouTube is a way better client, but it's a longer acquisition channel. It's way more expensive. LinkedIn's more expensive, lower conversions, but way higher take rates and the right people.
Yeah.
So everything's different. I'm curious to know someone who at your level is more of an expert than I am in the paid media side. Like, how did you kind of formulate the channels? Like, how do you give different value to different channels? Because the intentions are different.
Yeah, I love this question actually, because I do think it is something that's unique to Marketer X. And I think I'm uniquely positioned to think differently in those ways, just because in my head, and the same with Marketer X, you'll notice we never really taught tactics. We had a few tactics that you could use repeatedly, but we mostly taught in frameworks, heuristics, principles, right? If I could train you how to think, then it doesn't really so matter as much as if I had trained you what to do, right? Because the do's kind of fill in themselves. And so with Marketer X, it's the same concept. most of what we're training in Marketer X is not just these equations where it's A plus B equals C, whatever, and spit something out. It's actually a heuristic. It's a formula that's meant to guide the AI. And so we do multiple layers of not just this is what we're doing, it's the perception of how we're doing it and why we're doing it that allows the AI to think holistically across channels. Because that's really the purpose of Marketer X, is not to automate your Facebook ads. There's going to be plenty of tools that attempt to do this.
And I think Meta's going to do that.
Meta's going to do it by end of 2026. It'll probably be good in 2027.
Yeah.
But
you'll lose a lot of money when they test on your budget.
100%, 100%.
But FYI, for people that don't know, they're testing on your dollar.
Right. No, absolutely. But and our whole thesis is two things. A, Meta's never going to help train you on how to optimize your Google ads.
They don't
Those
want you to.
learnings and insights, they're never going to, right?
Yeah.
It's against their entire profitability moat. But the other side is that they are platform first optimized. It is designed to help Metas get more signal so they can optimize your budget. But for a business, that's not what you necessarily need. So our whole thing was we are an advertiser first platform because, well, what if you shouldn't spend more on Meta to get more signal so it can optimize? What if you should actually be spending less? Because the last 3 years running, we have a dip in these 2 weeks every year, right? Or it's noticing, hey, we should divert 15% of your budget over to Google, or we should pull it down across all acquisition channels and divert to email this week. So our whole thing was, how can we be more holistic for the advertiser and marketer?
And how many platforms or like channels are you looking at right now to like roll out, and where do you see it going?
So our first platforms that we're focused on is Meta and email. Then we'll expand to Google, and then we'll expand to TikTok and LinkedIn. But right now, the Meta and email are our first two primary focuses. I think that's where most people are spending their money.
Yeah, and I think from an email standpoint, not a lot of people have cracked the code, and those have been able to figure it out.
Yeah,
make a big, especially e-com.
Yes,
e-com emails like make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Dave is probably like one of the guys that I know is probably like the best at the e-com marketing side. Phoenix Haw is really good on the media side. I've seen her do a really good job, but I haven't seen a lot of people connect those two.
Yeah.
And I think that's the
easy example, right? And of course, we're always going to get deeper and deeper integrated and find new ways that we can optimize. But even the easiest example, right? Meta is what you're spending money on. You're going to get forced impressions like that very consistently. Why shouldn't your Meta headlines or your Meta hooks on your videos inform your subject lines in your emails? Of what's getting a better open rate?
We don't do that. I don't do that now.
No one does it. It's so much work. No one does that.
Calling myself out a little
But it's an easy thing of like, that's an easy comparison of this is getting more disruption. How can we get more disruption in the inbox?
And what's that loop look like in the system or in the AI or even in a framework? Like I dropped it on a Miro board or a FigJam board. How do you look at that OODA loop? Feedback.
So essentially everything in the platform that you're generating right now gets a heuristic score and a creative DNA fingerprint attached to it. The fingerprint alone has anywhere from 65 to 85 different attributes towards what this thing is. This could be positioning, what stage of the market is it going after, what brevity, what reading level, all this stuff gets tracked. And then as performance starts to come in, essentially the learning layer, the intelligence layer of Marketer X is watching what are these creative DNAs and heuristic scores attached to the performance actually telling us. And that's when the learning loop goes, hey, this type of headline towards this angle, towards this offer at this time, whatever, this is triggering higher performance. How can we expand that learning across other channels?
I think it's crazy because I mean, I built my sports career on pattern recognition.
Right, yes.
And in business, it's a superpower.
Yes.
But you know, AI and robots, computers do pattern recognition better than humans.
Way much.
So the ability to be able to see that window and then fill that gap right away instead of having there's always an opportunity cost of where you're spending your time and energy. And sometimes, you know, the punch that knocks you out is the one you don't see.
Yeah.
So in ad platforms, the ones that hurt you is when someone comes in and is basically beating you and you don't know why your things are performing, but it's a competitor. Or when you know, you're asking people to make a decision during certain windows when that's not when they're online, and that's where you're spending the same amount of money evenly spread out, like it's a peanut butter sandwich in a you know, second grade you know, science project, where it's like, do this evenly. But in reality, it needs to undulate so that it hits certain peak times, and then during pit windows, you're pulling things out. You did this across like teams and people, and you'd probably yell at a lot of people on a Monday call and be like, hey, why aren't you changing this? Do you see it's getting to the point where it's going to be able to, like, almost like a DJ, turn the volume up and down and drop the treble and bass a little bit if needed? Or do you feel like it's going to, like, is someone going to be able to orchestrate this like they're running a club?
Yeah, I mean, essentially that's kind of the future where I think most divisions inside of a business will go, is that you, instead of having a marketing team, you'll have a marketing department that's represented by one person.
Mm.
And they're going to oversee, and I kind of think where it's going is a new position that I'm calling like mark ops. It's going to be marketing operations, and that's really your true marketing person. Is they're just orchestrating the operations of a department, and you're essentially now just having a very good marketer that just oversees and kind of makes sure everything is going well.
And in your opinion, how many do you see marketer X going kind of to like the single business and it's able to deploy across their business and the CMO oversees that? Or do you see it going into the agency space where it's then having, legs underneath it to where, you're able to handle multiple accounts?
I see both. The agencies, I think if they learn to adapt, I've been telling them for 3 years now, like I predict 3 years ago, I think the model is going to go away. And I believe that it was going to become more of like a technology partner. Agencies will essentially build or manage these ecosystems for a company. And if they're smart, they'll probably have some kind of proprietary additions that they're going to add in and maybe host the workflow. But if not, then yeah, the businesses are going to have access to these tools.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because even like in our agency side, we've been saying for 11 years, like we're your digital partner.
Right.
But we're saying that because we're dealing with baby boomers that have fax machines still. Like we still have clients that have fax machines.
Yeah.
And we're looking at it in the sense of like, hey, we're your digital partner. You're like, you're not going to do that. You took so long for you to like send an email.
Yep.
You're not going to go into a back end and change anything. You're not going to make sure your pixel's set up properly. So we'll do that for you.
Yep.
Now that definition I think is going to change. A true digital partner is looking at the digital ecosystem of a business and how do you handle everything from, their internal operations to their growth metrics. And then also I think one of the things that AI has helped me the most is dashboards and reports. So like looking at, I had a friend of mine, Felix, on who's the founder of Multibase, who's a data analytics business based out of Germany. And I mean, they've had clients that have stuck with them for 30 years.
Yeah.
And when you're able to kind of show people the future, they stay with you for a long time. I think that a lot of times business owners are flying blind.
Yeah.
And they have no idea. Like they have no idea like what their numbers are. I struggle a little bit with our understanding like attribution.
Yeah.
Because I don't find if I'm in different platforms, whether it be, Ad Beacon or Triple Whale, or I'm looking at Facebook's business manager, which changes every day. I've not been able to discern which one's right or not. All I know is it still profitable? Okay, we'll keep it going. Do you see a place where we could get honest numbers?
I think it is about as honest you can get. I think there, in the world of data privacy, there's probably always going to be some level of ambiguity for larger businesses. Smaller businesses, it's much easier to get things so siloed where it's probably more clear. Yeah, sure, create a extra funnel for Facebook only, one for email. Right?
Yeah.
Big businesses couldn't possibly hope to do something like this. But when you see an attribution issue, how do you know it's an attribution issue? Probably because you had some other data stream that gave you data and you're like, that doesn't align with what I saw in this thing, right? Or when you're troubleshooting, you're like, I need to figure out how off this is. What do? You probably go to your email service provider, your application, software, and you're like manually checking things.
That's what we're doing now.
Exactly. And AI will do that process for you, right? Like, so I think it's going to help quite a bit because you can now start having processes where every morning it's manually pulling the numbers from all these platforms and coming up with its numbers to help you. And so I think it'll be a lot easier.
Have you tried to pick a winner right now, or do you truly believe it's a horse race in the AI game with Claude, Perplexity, Manus, Chat?
Right now, I think they all pretty uniquely have different goals and targets in mind. Most of them, the big money is not in B2B.
No.
It is in government contracts. It's in space exploration. It's in weapons. And so I think it all really matters with what are their priorities. Manus is an interesting one just because they're so clearly meta focused, obviously, because that's who owns them. And so I think in some areas they'll do really well, but I think they'll shoot themselves in the foot from becoming like the one that a central company uses.
Yeah. Where do you, like, for small business owners, which are kind of like my ecosystem of people? Yeah, I have some one percenters that are running,
Yeah.
you know, multi-hundred-million-dollar businesses that are in my world, but they have teams of people.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always joke around, like, I got to tell you the story after this recorded, but there was a very, very lucrative contract that a very close person of mine said, like, you want to be in big business? We had this multi-figure contract get held up for 12 weeks because they spelled the company's name wrong. And it was just spun up in legal.
Oh,
And I'm like, that's pretty awesome.
yeah.
And I'm like, what? And I'm like, what's the company? And I was like, XAI. They misspelled that name. And I'm like, that's fascinating. So I won't drop the, I won't put too much pressure on the person, but that's pretty funny to think about. When you're in big business, the red tape slows you down
Insane.
so much. So I spend so much time in B2B in the small business side.
Yeah.
I look at kind of like entrepreneur athletes, you know, my world of sports. I like people that are CEOs, executives that look at it like business is a sport.
Yep.
It's a contact sport. There's going to be a lot of competition. I believe it's a team sport.
Yep.
You got to create, like, environment always wins. But I do lean more in the smaller business realm. Like, I'm good at the 2 to 10 million range.
Yeah.
I probably suck after that. Other than strategy, I'm good, but the tactics, you need people to do. For the small business owners, like, where can they use this today? Like, what's your advice for them right now to, like, not get stuck in the old way of marketing? What's the fastest way for them to actually grow in the marketing world today?
Ooh, that's a good question. So it depends on what their problems are right now. But what I would say is, if you're smaller, you're still trying to figure things out, or you're just starting to figure things out, a lot of it in today is volume. Because unless you're willing to have the time to really get good at something like this, or you can hire someone to come in and do this for you, you have still a competitive advantage that no previous small business owner had, which was an insane amount of volume if you wanted it. You know, most small businesses, their problems in the past was that they only had so much resources. And so their learning curve was just slower, right? And so I'd say, if you're a small business owner, leverage AI. I personally love Claude Cowork.
It's
for any
amazing.
small business. My favorite thing to use on a day-to-day basis. But your advantage is going to be just volume. And, you know, if you don't know something, the cool thing with AI is you can ask it. The biggest thing I would say, though, just with leveraging any standard AI model, is just understand it's built training on the internet, which just means it's the aggregate of the internet, which then by definition means it's the average answer. And so understand that part of it. When people are talking about, oh, it sucks or it hallucinates or the outputs aren't that great, well, you probably asked it, and it's training on average data. And so if you can get good at controlling the system, you know, I don't know what my system instructions should be. Great. Ask Claude what the system instructions should be. Don't try to write your own. If you can start thinking in the leverage, how do I get more leverage? Then that's the best way you're going to get forward.
Nice. What's your 3 years ago? I mean, 2 years ago, it was like you let off the siren like that guy just did. But 3 years ago, you made it very clear, like, hey, the future of agency is not going to be in team bloat or tech bloat. It's going to consolidate. And if you stay in it long enough, when it expands, just like in the AI space, you will grow.
Yeah.
What's your message to the business owners that are trying to kind of still play the game in the old way?
I mean, success leaves clues and history has breadcrumbs, right? And so look at all the companies who did not adapt to the internet. Look at all of the video and entertainment companies that couldn't adapt to streaming services. You know, it happens over and over again. And this is one of those things that it's not just a fad. This is bigger than the internet. You know, maybe the only thing as significant or more significant to humanity is the light bulb and electricity, you know? So if you can't do it right now, you need to find someone in your company that can. I also tell people too, who are running businesses right now, for many of them, they would be better served just to go hire someone full-time at $8,000 a month to do the AI stuff in the company. Find processes, automate it with AI, and then test it. Once it's good, roll it out to their company, and the rest of the company stays focused on what you guys do. Because you're going to have the two sides. The people who are doing nothing, and they're going to get left behind, or the people who are distracting their entire company plan to try to go AI, and now they're just chasing these golden nuggets because it's exciting and new.
It's a sand trap. They get excited, but they're not really growing.
Yeah, it's like, listen, you don't have the time to focus and do it right. Find someone who can. It's probably cheaper for you to go hire someone right now to be all in on focused and not roll anything out until that person is like, I built all the SOPs, I transferred everything over, we're good to go.
Now you're going back to you in the operating days. Now you don't have that big of a team now, right?
No, 3 people.
3 people.
3 people, man.
How do you feel from a stress standpoint compared to, because you work
Yeah.
just as hard,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
it's different type of, your
Yeah.
focus is in a different place.
Yeah, it's been an interesting one. I would say like,
Because you're good with the team side. I've seen and know people that have interacted with you. Everyone's gonna say like, oh, Cab works with you, you're a dick. You know, to me, like you're like, oh, he's a dick. But we get the job done. But I also treat my business like I'm used to coaching an athlete. I also like tone it down 100 notches.
yeah.
Because I have to. But it's still, to me, like when I walk into my environment versus other people's environment, I'm like, oh my God, like, and my wife will tell me like, you wouldn't last a day. Like you wouldn't, like in a corporate world, like I wouldn't, I know how to, I'm good in the boardroom.
Right.
But like in a hallway, in a corporate hallway,
Yeah.
like what the fuck you doing?
In the political side of it, I
No.
was never good at the political side. But well, one, it was a huge whiplash. I think it took me a good 1 or 2 months of just like getting back into it. And a lot of it, I think, was just mental confidence of like, can I still do this? You know, can I still even do marketing? Can I still even do these operational things? Because I just hadn't done them in so long.
Yeah.
But it didn't take very long to be like, oh yeah, I still got it. And I'm actually, all those lessons that I thought I might have forgotten. No, I actually remember them, and I've avoided so many mistakes. But I mean, as far as stress goes, I don't think that I'm any more stressed or less stressed. I think that side of me is probably gone. I don't really get stressed anymore.
Nice.
But I'm working harder than I ever have before, but I'm also having more fun than I ever had before.
It's really cool to, I mean, I can't code. My son went to Roblox coding camp last summer, and now we're not doing that. We built our own app by himself, just talking to it, which is cool. So I feel really cool that like, I'm smart now.
Yeah.
But what's your lesson, or what would be your advice to people that are running teams right now, in your experience in the ops side, especially on the marketing side, people that have to deal with like client facing, B2B marketing support? There's a lot of stress on like people are not happy, you know, or they love you, but they're always wanting more. So scope of work starts to gets tough. What's your advice to leaders in the team space of how do you help manage their teams?
Yeah. So them, how to manage their own employees.
Yeah.
2 things. One, I think as leaders, it's our responsibility to help lead the way, right? You know, you're in leadership because the idea is that a team can look up to you. And if you are not giving the team the information, the insight, this is where I think things are going. If you're not doing that, I think you're failing as a leader, because you don't want them to be testing all the AI tools out on the market. You don't want them getting distracted, but you need to be a source of information where the team feels safe enough to not distract themselves. And so I think as leaders, first, we need to be understanding what's coming and how to help the team. But then the next thing is that as a leader and as a fiduciary to the company, it's also your job to hold people accountable. If you're leading the way, you've given the guidelines, you're telling people this is what we can do to innovate, but then you're not enforcing accountability. Well, then you're just as much failing as a leader, more to the company, which has to be your first priority. And so those 2 things is where I'd say most right now is stay in the know, but learning how to communicate and hold accountability, because if you don't, the company is going to fall behind.
With that, the reason why I brought that up is because I look at Marketer X inside, like, you know, behind the curtain on the platform. And I think what you've done is you've built team building principles within the model that allows it to have, because I tell people like working with AI it's a little bit easier for me today, not because I'm tech driven, but because I've coached Olympic athletes, professionals, all the way down to 8, 12, 13-year-old kids that literally, if you could do something stupid, they're going to do something stupid. And I believe that you got to treat AI like that sometimes, where you have to give it guidance,
for sure,
but also create guardrails where they're not going to go out over here. And I think that's what you've done, but in a very specialized niche, in an area where most businesses need a ton of help. Because most people that I've experienced get into business as a skill that they're good at, and then they had to learn the business and they fumble it a bunch to the point where they get it going, or they've adopted a business. A true purebred entrepreneur is somebody who's literally like, I know how to build a company to create leverage. I know that leverage is going to help me with a current asset. I'm going to arbitrage that against whatever the current market is, and I'm going to just keep repeating and doing it. But most businesses and most entrepreneurs are not like that. Most entrepreneurs are providing some sort of a service or value that was important to them. and that thing that was important to them turned into a business,
Yeah.
and was like, this is what I'm doing other than being a banker.
Yeah.
So I think that that's where it's what you've baked into the platform. But I'm curious to see, I'm curious to see where it's gonna go. Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited for the journey. I told you, like, didn't sign up to use it. I signed up because if I'm gonna bet, like, you got to decide are you gonna bet on the horse? Are
Right.
you gonna bet on the jockey? Like, at some point, I'm gonna bet on the driver, because at the end of the day, I mean, I have a bunch of friends that are really good, like, drivers, and, like, I could drive, and if I'm in a 911, I'm gonna beat you. But if we're gonna be on a
Right.
on a course, they're gonna take me to town in whatever vehicle
Right.
they're in. They can be on a go-kart and they're still gonna beat me because they're that good. And I think you got to bet on the driver. So I am betting on you. I think it's
Thank
gonna
you.
work. I hope
you.
so. Don't fuck it up. All right, I'd be really pissed off. I don't like to lose, so
Yeah, me
let's
neither,
let's
man.
do
Me
that.
neither.
But I ask everybody these 3 questions. I think that, like, to sum up, whether it be sports or business, the leader, I'm a big believer of this. That, like, inside of us when we were a kid, we had something that gets us excited, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's this, like, superhero in us. Like, I've been able to build, like, a team of Avengers in my coaching world, where
Yeah.
I've had, like, the best doctor, the best nutritionist, the best technical
Yeah.
guy. And instead of having to know everything, I just be able to, like, tap
Yeah.
that guy, bring him in. So when you want to build a team of Avengers, you want people that, like, have superpowers.
Yeah.
So, like, what's Ashton's superpower?
Um, I think it kind of falls into 2 things. One, I believe that I have an extremely high logical reasoning capability. That allows me to understand things that are complex fairly quickly, allows me to problem solve fairly quickly, just because I think I err on extreme reasoning ability. The other side, though, is I've always had the ability to see things at their maximum potential. This is what I have in front of me, but what is that next thing that could be become with a few iterations? So I think those 2 things have allowed me to play across a lot in business and do very well.
Yeah. And if you look at, like, Batman, right, who stands for justice for all, what do you stand for?
That's a great question, man. 2 sides. I'd say internally, it's just greatness, and it's super vague, but I think that's always been enough for me.
Well, what does it mean to you?
It's a good question, right? It's where even the original name of the company Heman came from, right? It was the architect of the pyramids was nicknamed Heman, and it was this idea that in my head, something at achieving maximum potential.
Now, the real question is, are we
highest
talking Mexican or are we talking Egyptian?
It was Egyptian.
Just got to
Heman.
check,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Egyptian was Heman. All that, yeah. But the interesting thing is, I don't think it's so poignantly clear, but internally, my gut knows when something's at its maximum potential.
Mm.
And it's always been enough for me. It's what's weird. I was having a conversation with my sister because after I had exited bad, it was like, hey, I should take a break a little bit, like, let's relax. And then 2 weeks later,
How'd that work out for you?
a week later, I'm knee deep into AI again. And I'm talking to my twin sister, and I was like, I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. And she had kind of called out, I was like, because it'd be great. And that's all you've ever needed, is something that have the potential to be great. And in your eyes, you could see it at its highest level, and that's all you needed to go. And
That's awesome.
in a very astute assumption, I was like, yeah, that's actually fairly right.
Should help you feel good that the person that's probably very close to you, who
Yeah.
shares the same DNA, sees that in you too.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
powerful. You look at Iron Man. He's like, what does he stand against? He gets bombed and he sees his family's name on a missile. And he goes, I stand against weapons in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
What does Ashton stand against?
Right now, in the thesis of Marketer X, is I've had a whole career watching companies that should not be winning win, just because they had a bigger budget, better angles or more content production. And I've watched the best companies that had great products and truly cared, just could not keep up, and they lost. And so Marketer X, the whole idea was, how do we equal that playing field where any business could now have the same access, same resource, same ability that any of these big companies can, and create this world where truly the best businesses actually win.
Yeah, I share that sentiment, so that's awesome, which is cool. For me, it's about winning the right way.
Yeah.
'Cause I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that both cut corners or do it the wrong way. And then I've learned in my both sport and athletic career to coaching that you could get to the top by doing it the wrong way, but you can't stay there.
Yeah.
You'll get knocked off.
Yeah.
What's every Superman, every superhero has a flaw. What's your flaw?
I think throughout my leadership career, my flaw has typically revolved around I can see 12 steps ahead that doesn't mean that that's what's appropriate for those around me to know.
Mm.
And also leads to overwhelm, right? And it's not overwhelm for me because I love living in that world, but it's very important as a leader to understand the right time for team to know, and not communicating as soon as it's an idea in your head, but needing a clear vision, and not getting upset like, I just said this amazing thing. Why does no one get it? It's like, well, dude, that's like so far beyond where people are currently at, and you just dropped this bomb on us.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, for me, I think it is quickly not practicing probably patience is a pretty good weakness of mine.
My mom would tell me, you know, she would always get worried that I would be content. And I'd tell her, I said, Mom, I'm not content with where I am, but I'm content with the path that I'm on.
Yeah.
And there's a very big difference.
Yeah.
As long as you feel as if you're making progress in the right direction, maybe it's not as fast as you would like it, but you at least know that you're headed in the right place. So that's
Yep.
really good. Having field vision is really important, both sports and business. But people think about it and go, man, that kid was so fast, or man, that guy's so strong. More than anything, it's about timing. So, you know, speed, I believe, has been the X factor in my career, both coaching and in athletics. But at the same time, you got to know the right timing.
Yeah.
Because you could throw yourself out if you do things too
Yeah.
quick. So what you're speaking to is understanding the rhythm and a cadence at a leadership level.
Yeah.
And it's about it's backing up and being able to see things holistically,
Yeah.
which is similar to what your platform's doing and similar to what you've done in your career. So I'm excited to be a part of the ride, just as a fan, but also as an end user. And I'm looking forward to the future, man.
Dude, thank you so much.
Yeah, keep it up, man.
Yeah.
Pump.